Good morning everybody, welcome back. It's now 2022, January the 20th I think, and we've come back to work full steam ahead. So behind me we have a red RX7 that turned up yesterday. Now I rebuilt this engine I think a year or two ago, and it's been running fine, but he decided over our last lockdown with him and his mate to go and single turbo the car. Now we got it back because he'd taken it to another shop to get some stuff done, and the guy basically turned around and said there's too many problems with this car, take it away. So here we have, it's here now, and we're about to look at it and see what's going on. Now, we have had a bit of a look at it yesterday to see what's going on. There's a bunch of little things and big things wrong with it that we're trying to diagnose and sort out with it. So here's a bit of backstory. It was a factory twin turbo FD as of last year, and rebuilt the engine. It's all factory rebuilt. It's been running fine. It's not had any issues. And then he's gone and fit the single turbo and everything else, and that's when the problem started. So this is basically a video to explain why you shouldn't attempt things by yourself sometimes with little knowledge, or with friends that think they know what they're doing. So let's go have a look. So here we go. This has a Borg Warner S300 turbo. It's got Aeroflow fuel rails, it's got intercooler piping and everything else. So from the outside, it looks like it's okay, right? However, there's a few issues, Jake? Just one or two. Yeah. All right, so let's get into it. So here we have this guy coming off. Everything's loose because we've had it apart. So I don't think this filter's new, but we can give that a birthday. That's fine. I'll put that in here. Now, this is where the fun starts. So as you can see, this is off because I couldn't get it back on easily. Here lies the first problem. When you start to see stuff like this, it's got jagged edges, it's not been swaged, and you're trying to connect a coupler on a bend, which it never likes, especially without a swage. So let's go have a look. It's got crap all through it. So, and this guy here, if you can see down in there, he hasn't even cleaned the edges of the tubing once they've cut it. So what that means is that there's every chance that at some point in the future, or on the dyno or whatever, those little bits are going to fall off and get choppy through the turbo, wreck the turbo, and then possibly go into the motor and wreck the motor. So we don't want that. That's one of the issues. Put that in here. This is running a Apexy Power C ECU. Now we have had this running, but it starts breaking up after about a minute, and it starts getting like real smoky, and it's running really erratically, and then it just starts popping and farting, and it doesn't want to know. So I've got the idea that it's possibly the timing. Is there something wrong with the timing just because of what it's doing? And it seems to be really badly over fueling as well. So we need to try and sort all of this stuff to... Oh, hi. Back in a minute. All right, timing. So I got a funny feeling there's either a damaged sensor or the ECU's frittering out or something like that. Now the other thing is we have oil leaks. So one of the reports from the guy who had it at the last shop said that there was oil coming out of the wastegate. But Jake, you seem to think that it's coming maybe out of the side of the block or something?
Oh, it might be coming out of the turbo housing by the looks of it.
Okay.
But there's oil everywhere.
Oil everywhere. So yesterday, Jake cleaned it up, and this morning we're going to try and maybe get it running again and see if we can see where that oil's coming from, because it was really dirty. The other thing it could be is the oil to return for the turbo could be way too small, and basically what's happening is the oil is bunching up or getting stuck and can't go back into the motor, and so it's just pushing through that rear housing into the exhaust housing. That's a possibility. So we've just got to try and figure out what's going on before we get too involved in pulling it apart. I think that was about it. Overall, the car's it's in okay condition, but it needs a bunch of work. Like things like this for us, This is a massive no-no. We normally take this housing off and then cut that off and weld it, just because it's more reliable, less problems to happen later. But it's just a bunch of little stuff, eh?
Just little things, but they add up.
Yeah, and then there's the exhaust. Should we talk about the exhaust? Because I know you're real dark about it.
It made my day.
All right, we'll get this car up in the air and we'll show you what we found underneath. So we've got the car up in the air now, and let's go have a look at what we found. So first thing I don't like how low this wastegate is, like compared to the subframe. So that kind of tells me that if this car hits anything low, that this is going to be the first point of contact, right? The other thing that they've done, if we can show, can we see the wastegate?
You can see it's not sealed.
Oh yeah, it's not sealing, so that's another problem. And then we've got screamer pipe.
Scream.
This is the funniest thing. Okay, this is actually the best part of the exhaust. Like, it gets worse from here.
Oh yeah.
So this used to have what's called a plumb back. So this tube here goes onto this flange here, and they've huckered it together with what looks like a family of seagulls. Yeah, so that's not ideal. So we're gonna fix all that, and here we have the exhaust. So this is a Mitre 3000. So basically what they've done is they've got what looks like, is it 3.5 or 4 inch pipe?
3.5.
3.5, and then straight pipe, and they've just like cut sections in it to make angles, and it doesn't, like, I can't move it. Like it's hard up against the body. Yeah, so we're gonna need to fix all of this. I don't know, I think we've got some 3.5 inch down the back, so we could probably just fix it and make it better again. But even the welds, they're pretty atrocious. Yeah, what do you think, Jake? In the bin?
Yeah. It's not
In
great.
the bin. I could actually remake that with a couple of bends and it would be nice. So maybe we do that.
Do you think we need to show them the flame-proof cable tie?
Go on then. Up there. Sorry, I can't. Can you see that? Maybe.
Probably show them the top.
Very good. I'll show it from the top. But anyway, yeah, there's oil leaks. There's all sorts of things going on. Basically, what we're trying to say is there's a reason there's shops like us around, because we have a way that we do things, and we like to do things like properly so that we don't have issues. We don't have oil leaks. We don't have vacuum leaks, boost leaks, and all that sort of stuff. And everything that's been done to this car, unfortunately, I'm not putting down the other shop that it's been to, because he's actually, you know, he's pretty good and he's done his job. But he's just basically turned around and said, there's so many things wrong with this car, take it away. And that's, here we are. Oh, here we go. Here's another thing. This is a wastegate. These are all loose, so that's all finger tight. They have no sealant. They've not been tightened. Those
ones are okay.
Oh no, that one's loose. The top one's loose. It's almost out. This one's tight. But like little things like that. So when you come to a shop like ours, we go through everything before it's finished, because we don't want anything falling off. We don't want anything breaking or coming loose. So, you know, we do a bolt check on everything that we've touched and everything else that's obvious, so that when we go to the dyno, there's less issues, right? Now, if this car was put on a dyno, there would be major issues everywhere. It would just start developing, and it would just be a fiasco trying to diagnose everything on the dyno, because there's so many little issues that will turn into just be one big issue, and any person dynoing this car be like, take it away, which is again what's happened here. So I've got another ECU to put in it. We're putting a Link G4X plug and play into this car, and we're going to hopefully go and try and get it up and running today, just to that way we can see what's going on better. Now the Links, they've got, because they're way more modern, you've got more information that you can see, so you can tell if things are wrong, if sensors are not working properly or whatever else. So we're going to go do what we can, see if we can get it running again, and then do some more diagnosing and get back to you. So we'll see you in a bit. yes, we are back here closing off on this RX7 for a little while because we've got too much work on, so we're going to book them in for another day. But what we have found is a bunch of things that we've managed to remedy to the most part, the biggest being the injectors being in the wrong place. So when we had it running yesterday, it was smoking really bad, and it was just running horribly. It was popping and farting, and basically every time it sort of started to get a little bit warm, it would just die. We couldn't get it running. So had a bit further look into it. We didn't know what the injectors were, so we decided to have a look at them. And what we found is what someone had done had put the primaries into the secondaries and the secondaries into the primaries. Now, for those who don't know about rotaries, they have primary and secondary injectors, and what that means is that the primaries, they're on at low RPM, low load, and there's like for 13Bs, there's 2 of them. And then when power gets applied, when they need more fuel, the second ones kick in. But unfortunately, these were in the wrong place, so you were dumping fuel, like a huge amount of fuel into the engine, and that was what was causing it to smoke. It contaminated the engine oil, and that's why we were seeing so many oil leaks. So it was thinning the oil out to the point where it was almost like water. Yeah, so we've done an oil change on it. We've moved the injectors into the correct place. We've changed a few things. We've fixed a few water leaks that it had. We are aware of some oil leaks that it's got, so we'll fix those when it's in next. We need to remedy the intercooler piping. We need to change the exhaust because the engine is basically now solid mounted. The engine can't move because the exhaust is hard up against the body of the car. So it's not good for the engine. It's going to put too much stress on everything. So yeah, we've got a bunch of little things we need to fix, but overall it's not looking too bad. So yeah, it's not going to take us long to get it sorted, and with the new Link ECU, it's going to be way more reliable than the Power FC that it had, which the owner I think is going to be selling it. But yeah, moving on from there, we're just about to put it on the trailer and drop it back to the customer because we have another job turning up on Monday, and this is basically the end of the job for the next few weeks or months or whatever. So anyway, without waffling on too long, I'll close it off here, and we'll be back when it's back next time for a tune, and we'll fix all the problems, and we'll move some stuff around, and we'll probably explain why we're doing things and why we're putting things in certain places and whatever else that needs to be done. So this is a prime example of why you don't get your friends to work on your cars that have a little bit of knowledge, and why you should really take it to someone like us who have got the years of experience behind them, who know what to do and what not to do to get you that desired outcome. So yeah, moving on from that, thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time, and hopefully you can join us on the journey for getting this thing back on the road and driving around again.